We finally made it. We're here at the third largest antique motorcycle show in the United States. This is Oley, Pennsylvania, and I have one of my good friends, Danny, here with me, and he pretty much knows everything that you want to know when it comes down to Harley Davidsons, and that's what we're going to teach you in this video. Almost.
But I'm in heaven here. I could live here with these things.
And to start us off, Danny, you said this is a pretty special one right here.
Oh boy, this thing caught my eye immediately.
It's one of the first bikes you see when you walk in here.
Oh boy, yeah. This is a very unique bike. It's a 1939 that's been completely customized.
And when you say customized, Danny, what would have originally came on this bike, or what didn't originally come on this bike?
It wouldn't have any of this stuff. It wouldn't have this. All of these fancy bumpers, these rails, all of this stuff, these horns. This thing is decked out more than just about anything you'll ever see.
So it has all the accessories on it.
Oh yeah, a lot of these are homemade too. One of a kind, unique. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Danny, a bike like this, with all this customization done to it, does that add value to the bike, or does it detract value to the bike? Or?
This one it adds, because it's all real original stuff and a lot of unique stuff. You won't see another one like this.
Okay.
A real attention getter.
And what would be some like the ballpark figure on something like this?
I could see this thing hitting $100,000 with no problem.
And that's what we're going to talk a lot about on this video, is kind of the prices of vintage Harleys, parts of vintage Harleys, and basically to see what we can kind of get into as far as monetary wise when it comes to these bikes.
I just spotted a very rare bike. That is a Crocker. Very scarce. These were the fastest bikes on the road back in the day.
A Crocker?
Crocker.
And what year would this be, Danny?
I'm going to say probably in the 40s. I really don't know a lot about them.
Okay.
But these were very collectible bike, very scarce. I think they only made, I'm pretty sure less than 100 were ever made.
Less than 100?
As far as I know. But these were the fastest thing on the road way back in the day. Super collectible. Very rarely see them.
Were they made in Los Angeles?
I believe so. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I know they were a California bike.
Now, I know you're strictly a Harley guy, but is there anything you could tell us about maybe this Indian behind us? Do you know anything about
that's
this?
That's a sweet one too. That's an Indian 4-cylinder.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure exactly what year. I'd say maybe late 30s, just because it doesn't have the full big fenders on it.
Gotcha.
Those are beautiful bikes too. Very collectible nowadays too. I've been coming here over 40 years. It's probably been going on probably around 50.
Okay.
But people from all over the U.S. and actually all over the world come here.
What do you normally typically deal in? What years do you normally the knucklehead stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty much 1936 through the 50s.
Through the 50s.
Knuckleheads, flatheads, panheads. That's my main thing.
And so what would this bike be right here?
Oh, there's a dual carb knucklehead. Ooh. That's like a race or a drag bike.
And that's what this stuff is.
Yeah, that's all customized. Yeah, that's a wild thing. That's something you do not see every day of the week. So that's wild. Pete Hill, too, he's like a famous drag racer.
A famous drag racer?
Yeah.
Okay, and he made the motor for this, so that would that add credibility, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah.
And what does something like this run, do you think?
That I do not know, because it's pretty much customized.
It's 100% custom.
Well, it's in a panhead frame.
Okay.
It's got, kind of a custom chopped fender on it, a little race gas. This was probably made for drag racing.
Gotcha.
So it's all stripped, custom pipes, all of that neat
stuff. They did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
And as like a Harley connoisseur, what's your favorite part about this bike? The carburetors?
Love those dual carbs.
Love the dual carbs.
Yeah, you just don't see that kind of thing. All kind of customized.
And are they like a rare piece? Is that why you like it, or
something? Yeah, you never see.
You never see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe it could be some kind of factory speed equipment way back in the day. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you never see that stuff anymore.
Okay. And what are?
Yeah, Pete Hill was kind of a big name drag racing for years.
Oh, that's pretty cool. They got chains on the back of that tire.
For hill climbing.
Oh, this is for hill climbing?
Yeah.
Okay. And that probably goes to that bike?
Yeah, maybe it was a hill climber more than a drag bike. Yeah, that very well could be.
Oh, it's for sale.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, okay, that is a hill climb. There you go. 55K. Okay.
55K. So there you guys go at
Yeah.
home. No phone number on
Here
that
I'm thinking
one.
it was a drag bike. It's dragging up the hills.
It amazes me that a bike like that costs $55,000.
Very scarce.
Very scarce.
Yeah, you just don't see them.
This was our first tricycle that we've encountered here.
Oh, these are Indian three-wheelers, which are really scarce too. You very rarely see Indian three-wheelers.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about them other than them being scarce, and to see two together is even scarcer, so that's kind of neat.
Well, I do know, I think you showed me something like this at your house where this attaches on a car. or
Yeah,
something like
tow
this,
bar.
right? Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
In fact, that's actually a Harley tow bar on that thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what are more desirable, Indian three-wheelers or Harley three-wheelers? Are they kind of the same? Or?
Indians are probably a lot rarer.
Okay.
Yeah, you never see them. And
now-
to see two in one spot is pretty rare.
And now this is a, what year is this?
This looks like it's a panhead. It looks like a race bike. Let's see if we can see the number.
Like an homologation of everything, huh?
It is a 1949.
And where are you looking, Danny?
See right here? All the earlier Harleys. On the left side of the motor case,
Okay.
that's where they put their serial number stamped. Then the first
It says 49 is the first two.
first two digits will be the year of the bike.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's how we know where the serial number is, VIN numbers, gotcha.
Yeah, this is set up, it's got a number plate on it, set up as a race bike.
Race bike.
So it's probably got some performance stuff done to the motor.
Pretty cool looking bike.
And they've been racing it. Look
That's
at
a
the
pretty
dirt
cool
on
looking
it.
sign on the back of that one too.
Yeah, that's stuff you don't see.
You don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
those Indian trikes are scarce.
So we just saw Indian tricycles, and these are Harley Davidson tricycles, and I'm gonna say that this is pre-39 because of the square pedals.
That would be, they use those up to 39.
Got you,
Those
okay.
footboards like that.
But if we go down here,
Can you see what year it
it
is?
says 35.
35.
35.
Boy, that's a pretty little thing.
So that predates the Knucklehead.
Yeah,
Correct.
the year before the nut
The year
came out.
Gotcha.
That is, I love that little thing. It is a beautiful little bike.
It does present well. Is
Yeah.
it the same one? Oh no, that one's a later one behind it back there.
Yeah, that's probably something in the 40s with the gas tank emblems.
I'm not sure if these are for sale. They don't have a price on them or anything.
Probably
like
not.
that. Oh, but the thing is Danny, this show, I just realized this today. You told me that you can get your bikes judged here.
Yeah.
And how does that work?
Well, let's see. I think it's a $20 fee. You can pre-register. A lot of people pre-register.
Okay.
And the AMCA, the Antique Club, has probably, I'm going to say, the highest standards of any judging for antique motorcycles.
And the AMC is the Antique Motorcycle Club of America.
America.
And that's
yes.
basically what this is.
Yeah,
the meet
exactly.
here. Okay.
Yep. And yeah, they point grade your bikes. And there's
Kind of like a car.
Yeah, there's a few different classes, and ultimately you can get like a, winner's circle bike, or I think there's another one even higher. But if your bike is categorized, in the top, it makes the value so much better. Oh, it's a cool little thing, but it's not for sale.
Yep, it says not for sale. That's probably because it looks so cool.
It's a pretty little bike, man, set up like a race bike.
And what is this? Is this just another seat back here?
It's like, yeah, if you race, you can stretch out a little bit. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's got short pipes on it.
Yep. Yeah, somebody was racing this thing.
And what year do you know?
1940. It's got a 42 WLA motor in it.
WLA.
But it's probably got all kinds of hot rod stuff inside
And
it.
when you say WLA, what does that mean?
That actually, the A stands for Army. So the WLA would have been originally in a military
In a military bike. So
Yep.
that engine came out of a military bike.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But it's probably got all kinds of hot rod stuff inside it because they were racing it.
Okay. And then they have this frame over here, and I wanted to show you guys that this frame is $6,500 for a 1938. And of course, that would have been a knucklehead as well.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's not a bad price for, looks like a fairly good frame, and that's not a bad price for a 38 frame. That's a panhead. Looks like a 49.
49. Okay.
See if is it a 49 serial number? Yep. And one way you can tell if it's a 49,
The fender. Oh, that's the 4.
Well, yeah, actually, 49, it's a one-year only fender. There's no rivets holding the brace. And 49s originally all had a black lower leg, where everything else had an aluminum color leg.
A lower leg.
Yep.
Interesting.
49 was the only year Harley painted them black.
That one's pretty cool. That says Motorcycle Cannonball on it.
Oh, yeah, that's that like cross-country kind of a race. For all bikes, all the old bikes, I think it's you got to be I'm not sure, like just say pre-1929 maybe. This is a 1926.
That says 26 on it, yep.
Yep, JD.
And you knew that. How did you know that before looking at it?
Well, I saw the tag
Oh,
on
the
it.
tag.
Yeah, I knew it was a JD, but I'm not really good with the early jobbies. But the cross-country Cannonball, I think I think they do that about 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's 1929 and earlier bikes. Those are the only ones even eligible
29.
for it.
So knuckleheads are no good in that one.
Exactly.
Then. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, race from one side of the country to the other.
And how fast does something like this go? Because I've never ridden one this old before.
It's got to be pushing, I'd say, probably if you rev the thing out, probably at least 80 to 90,
80
I
to
would
90?
think. Yeah, it's got the bigger motor in it.
It's a very, very, very cool and interesting bike.
Yeah, something you don't see every day.
I'd be very proud to own that. We just happened to pass this, and this is a 55 FLE Panhead.
Yep.
And they're asking $7,500 for it. Is that kind of what the range of a Panhead motor costs?
Well,
or?
this thing looks like it needs a complete rebuild.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I wouldn't pay that much, but they are getting harder to get.
What would you pay, Danny?
Oh, you don't want to know.
We do want to know.
I'd want to pay about $2,000 for the thing.
Okay, so if I find one for around that, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Some of the other parts over here you were telling me about is,
Ooh, now those are something sweet.
look at the price on this.
These are actually new old stock.
And that's
New old stock
$12,000.
engine cases for 36, 39 knuckle. Never had a VIN number stamped on. Very scarce. Yeah, never had a VIN, but they're brand new, original, never used. Actually, this fork too. Yeah, new old stock.
Does they have a price on the
That's
fork?
got a price.
$3,500 for an NOS fork.
Yep.
Now, would
Stuff-
this have gone with this bike?
No, this
No.
was
Okay.
actually like, it looks like a military WLA Army bike.
Gotcha.
Same fork for all the 45 750 flatheads.
He's asking us to buy it. What else do we have?
He's doing YouTube and get some advertising. He'll help you sell it.
What do we have on this one down here? This is a 49 Panhead.
Those were a
Looks like
one-year
the,
handlebar too.
Okay.
This little section here, all the later ones from 50 and later, there was kind of a big lug in here where these were just straight, and see how they crack? So they beefed them up in 1950 and later. So this is 49 only. It
49
had
only,
just that,
so-
yeah, kind of scarce.
Structurally not that sound in 49 is what
No.
you're saying. Gotcha.
Now there's a scarce piece.
Oh, we're
This
passing
is what
stuff.
you call a cat eye dash. Here's another, looks like a new old stock one from the military. That's new old stock, probably from 1942. Never been used, part of the government surplus.
Now, I've seen some of these here at the show. I don't know about this specific piece, but I've seen some of these go for $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is this one of these pieces, or is this too new?
No, that's from the 40s, new old stock. I don't see a price on it, but I'm sure it's at least a couple thousand.
Guys, what are you asking for this? $2,000. $2,000? Okay. Thank you. I'm standing here with Dale, and Dale has some of the coolest bikes that we've seen at this show so far. And Dale, what can you tell us about this Excelsior right
Yeah,
here?
made by the Schwinn Bicycle Company.
Okay.
That's a 1915 model. And,
1915.
it's probably been set up for over 50 years. It's all original paint, low mileage. They have a lot of weird linkage on them instead of cables. And usually when you find one of these, this stuff's all wore out on well-worn bikes. But this stuff's all tight, and everything's original on this bike except for the tires.
Except for the tires.
Yep. It's a 1915 model. Just a speculation. I figured the guy got it in 15, rode it up through 16, maybe part of 17, and then maybe got involved in World War I. Just speculation. So a lot of our boys went over to World War I and never came home. And bikes like this just sat idle for years, decades, you know.
No one would have rode it then.
So this
Yep.
one you can see it's got the original seat on it, the original rubber grips, and there's a few cracks in the old rubber, but it's a pretty nice shape.
If we were to go through a barn or something like that and the tanks were gone, is there any way to know that this is an Excelsior?
Oh yeah, this says on the motor someplace, I'm sure it does.
Okay.
Probably on this side over here at the bottom. And anybody that's, of course, a lot of people will discover this stuff that don't know anything about old bikes.
Yep.
It's less likely today than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you could find a lot of barn fresh stuff. And this is an example of something that's barn fresh, but it had been found and sitting in a collection for 25 years without anybody doing anything to it. It still needs to be totally serviced from one end to the other. The bike, this good original paint needs to be totally taken apart, clean, anything broken needs to be fixed, cracked needs to be fixed, then regasketed, put all back together, and then it could be, you could ride it on any pre-15 motorcycle tour you wanted to.
Gotcha.
This is a very stable engine. Excelsior made great motors.
And this bike behind us is pretty.
This is a copy.
It's built. Oh, it's a copy. Okay.
This is a copy of Glenn Curtis's 1904 race bike where he raced in Ormond Beach.
Okay.
Now the motor is very rare. The motor and the wheels are genuine.
Okay.
I found that motor and it's a 1904 Hercules V twin.
Hercules.
And it's
okay.
America's first production V twin. And they were only made for 2 years. And in 40 years of hunting, I've only ever found 2 of these motors that existed. No other motorcycles exist.
What is this little piece right
That
here?
is a spark intensifier.
Spark intensifier. I have not
And
seen
you'll
that
also
yet
notice
today.
that the spark plug, it's an Anderson glass-filled plug. It has clear glass there, so when the motor's running, that will glow orange, and you can actually see the orange of the combustion going off. And with this adjustable spark intensifier, if your plug fouls out, with this in line, it'll still spark.
Interesting.
Early aviation stuff.
And these are the original tires.
The tires are from the 1950s, actually. They
okay.
are
The wheel. Okay, gotcha.
1950s regulation sulky racing tires, the only tires that will fit these early rims. Lucky to even find them.
Now, is this one behind us also a Curtis too?
No, that's a E.R. Thomas.
An E.R. Thomas.
That's the company that Curtis originally bought his first cast pieces from and tried to machine them up and make engines. And probably that company in Buffalo probably did motorcycle castings for many companies, including Curtis.
And you were saying that this is something that took you quite some time to put together.
Yeah, I seen a catalog for 1906 Wagner motorcycles, and they showed a motorcycle in there with 2 engines in it for climbing hills. And so I decided to do one earlier, a turn of the century one. And it took a while to get 2 of those E.R. Thomas motors together, and those motors were built for converting bicycles into motorcycles. They're clip-ons.
Kind of like a Whizzer.
Yeah,
or
they're a
something
clip-on like
that.
a Whizzer.
Yep.
And so I finally said, usually when you find these, the carburetors are gone, the timers are gone. And so I just been slowly piecing this thing together. I found a nice wood light for it. It's got wood forks, wood handlebars, wood fenders. So, you know, it's a great project, and it'll be the only one like it.
I've never seen a bike with wooden handles
Yep.
and wooden forks or
Yep.
anything like that, and even the fender on this thing
Yeah,
is
it's
wooden
wood.
too.
Yeah, and I got a wood front fender for it, and the grips are going to be silver, ornate silver ends with checkerboard, abalone, and mother of pearl. Here's the grip material.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
Awesome. Now, Dale, what is something like this bring at auction or worth, or is there a way to even?
You could even put a price
I
on
was
this.
gonna
There's
say,
another
yeah.
one like it
Yeah,
anywhere.
that's what I was gonna say.
And if I finish it off, it'll be spectacular. I'll probably trade it off instead of sell it. I'll trade it for something else you can't buy. You know, because it's so unusual. Anybody that likes the real early stuff, you can do some horse trading.
And what year would you say that this would be?
Most of this is 1900 and earlier. The motors are 1900 through 1902.
1902.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Dale, thank you so
Well,
much.
my pleasure.
Yep.
And good luck with your program, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yep. Enjoyed talking with you.
Dave has a bunch of rare motorcycles here behind us that he's offering for sale. And what is this red one right here, Dave?
That's a 1911 New Era, made in Ohio.
Made in Ohio. Okay.
Yeah. And it has a multiple speed transmission, 2-speed, it's worked with the pedals. And also it's kind of strange because it has a hand crank over there to start it.
Oh, on that side.
Yeah. And the gas tank is cast iron.
The gas tank.
Yeah, in the back there is cast iron.
That's interesting.
And the oil tank is part of the frame, and it's cast iron.
Now, I see this has white wheels or white tires on it. Would most of these bikes have white tires on it
Most
back
of
in the
these
day?
early bikes had white tires. You could also get black tires,
Okay,
but a lot of guys prefer the whites.
original.
Yeah, because that's what they had original, is white tires.
Now, for this new era bike, how much are we asking for this, and how rare are they?
Extremely rare.
Yeah.
I've owned more than one, but there's a few out there, very few, but I was asking 65,000.
65,000.
Yeah.
And what is this bike next to it?
That's a 1918 Indian called a Power Plus.
A Power Plus.
Yes.
And what makes it the Power Plus?
That's just what the company called it.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if it had any extra parts on it or anything like
No,
that. Or...
It's an electric model, so it has electric lights.
Oh.
And the dash has the amp gauge and the switch in it to turn the electric lights on. Also runs a generator.
And what are you asking for something like that?
That one's 50. And the unique part about this one is it's original condition. It's, you know, all the parts came with it when it was new. As you can plainly see, they all match.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been torn apart.
No, it was actually blue at one time when I had it apart.
Okay.
I could see the tanks were blue on the inside,
Oh.
which is kind of unusual because usually Indian was red.
Now, I see you have some other engines down here. Are these pretty rare engines? I see that one says Pope on it.
Yeah, that one's a Pope engine, missing the heads.
Okay.
Yeah, then the weird stuff on the side is a generator drive, which is usually missing on all of them.
Gotcha.
And
What does something like that go for?
about 7,000.
6,000,
It's
7,000.
because it's missing the heads. If it had heads, it'd be worth more.
Okay.
This is a Yale twin, which is kind of unusual because the fins run straight on it, where most of the motors, the fins ran on angles. And it's
so
kind
I-
of hard to find this, especially with a carburetor and a magneto with it.
Okay.
So if you end up buying a motor like this and it's missing the carburetor and the mag, you can look to spend another $2,500 just to find the right mag and carburetor and manifold and stuff.
And that's for a Yale.
Yes,
Okay.
about a 1913 Yale.
1913.
And that one's around the same, 1913, 14.
What is that worth?
The Yale motor's probably worth about 10 grand.
About 10 grand.
Especially because it's got a carburetor and a mag.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how can they get in contact with you, Dave, as this is your phone number right here?
Yes, sir.
Got your phone number there. And the last two engines here, or the last three engines, what are some of these?
This one here is a Flanders. This is the early version of a Flanders.
Okay.
And that's about, it could be anywhere from, they made the same model 10, 11, 12, and then they changed the motor in late 13, so the 14 was totally different motor, but they went out of business then.
Okay. And what's this one laying
That
down
one
right
is
here?
a 14 Thor,
A Thor.
yes. The old gentleman stopped in here earlier and he says, you know why they called them Thors?
Why is that?
He says, because when you ride it, it gives you a Thorette.
This is stuff you never see. This stuff, very rare
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I've never even heard of half of these
Most
motorcycles.
people don't.
You know, and to let alone he has the engines
They
here for
the
them.
guy to talk to for this.
Yeah.
And how much for the Thor engine?
I was asking 8,000 for that.
I mean, just to sit on
It
your...
also has the magneto, and that takes a special mag. All these other motors are 45 degree, Indian's 42 degree, and the Thor is 50 degree. So you can't use the wrong mag, it won't work.
Gotcha.
No way to change it.
Dave, thank you for your time. I
Hey,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. I appreciate it, guys.
Not an American bike. This is a European or English bike. It's a BSA. And Danny, do you happen to know anything about these at all?
Not much on the British stuff,
We do
other
know
than the
the price there.
tag
I was
on
gonna say
there.
it is a little bit more affordable, but just not really. I mean, this show's more of it is vintage bikes, but you do see some BSAs here, more of like a Harley Indian style show, though. Would you
Probably
say that's correct?
majority Harley Indian, but there's a lot of British and even a lot of Japanese stuff.
And this show's been going on for a very long time, and you had mentioned that across the way here, there's a poster of a gentleman who was a staple here that just recently passed
Oh
away,
yeah,
right?
this is Greg Bowden. He was a buddy of mine. He just passed a few months ago, and he's been a fixture at these shows like forever. And that's really nice that somebody kind of did a little commemorative of him. But yeah, we all miss him. Said he was a fixture at these shows for years
Would
and
this
years.
have been one of his bikes, or?
It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking it. One of his buddies is just kind of, put those up. I don't know for sure, but it's possible.
And so this is a 46.
Cool.
Now, is 46, is that the last year for the teardrop?
Exactly.
I do remember you telling me
Yeah,
that.
yeah, see, you're getting it. Yeah, you're getting it.
Is there anything else on the 46 that we should take notice of? Or something with this piece right here is a little bit different, right?
This was the last year they called this the cat's eye dash.
The cat's eye dash.
And 46 was the last year they used that.
Interesting. I like this bike. It looks like it was just pulled out of a barn.
Yeah, it probably was. And
And,
that's what you call a beehive taillights. And 46, same thing, the last year they used that.
Okay. And if you had to put like a ballpark figure on this bike, Danny, what would you?
50 to 60,000.
50 to 60,000.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a pretty correct bike.
Tim is the president of the 101 Indian Club. Is that kind of correct how
That's
you said
correct,
that?
the 101 Indian Association.
Awesome. And I'm just learning that the 101 is the style of Indian motorcycle that's basically all behind us. These are all the same bikes, right?
Yep.
And Tim, what can you tell us about these bikes? What are these awards, or just what?
The Indian Motorcycle Company came out with a Scout in 1920 designed by Charles Franklin,
Okay.
which was a shorter bike of 600cc capacity. They developed it a little bit over the next few years, and then in 1927 they came out with a 45 cubic inch version,
Okay.
which was a bit more powerful, and they needed to change the design of the motor to support the engine.
And you have a motor over there, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
can you
right.
show us it all on that at all, or no?
Well, it's difficult to explain without having the other motors here. But
Gotcha.
the early Scouts, mounted on the frame, they had ears coming out here,
Okay.
and they mounted with a bolt going down through the frame either side. When they
Gotcha.
went to 45 cube, there was a little bit more power and a little bit more torque, and they were cracking the mountings. So they then came out with this arrangement
On the front of it.
where they had an extension on the crankcases and they're bolted through the frame. So instead of having each mounting separate, they're bolted through the frame at the front, which stiffened, cured the problem.
What can you tell us about this bike?
Well, this is interesting. This is the last of the line. This is actually quite an original bike. Obviously, it's been repainted, but this is actually a 1931.
a 31.
So in 31, if we can swap over look at this one has a change in the frame here with a hub brake, with a modern hub brake.
A hub
Whereas
brake,
before, they have this, which is a contracting band. So this is a much older and less efficient type of brake.
And what year would this bike
So
be?
this would be 28.
A 28.
Yeah.
All right. So this one, now this one says state police on it. So this would have been a police bike then, huh?
They were used a lot by the police. This is actually done out as a state police bike because this is Jim's bike and his son's New Jersey State Trooper.
Oh, okay.
So,
you can see all the sirens
with,
on it.
With the brake, they had a different handlebar, a different horn.
Much
that,
more ornate.
That rear brake, they've heavied up the spokes and the hub for this year, but the motor's the same as the other 4 years effectively.
Yeah, I didn't notice that earlier, but standing here next to the bikes, this one does just look a lot more beefier than that one.
Yeah, and largely it's a fashion statement too, because they went from the 28 and 29, they had this affair, which is known as a bullet headlight,
Okay.
which it's got that low, spindly 20s, slightly Art Deco feel. And then in 31, motorcycle fashions had changed and they wanted a slightly different style, so they came up with this centrally mounted headlight, which they used for the next 20, till they went out of business in 53.
Okay.
And it just alters the look of the bike, but really it's the same. The frame's different. 28, 29 and 30 use the same frame.
Gotcha. So 31's different.
So 31's slightly different.
Is there a price difference between these two bikes?
Um,
And what price would they be?
It's very difficult to say.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, top end, a superbly restored, immaculate original AMCA judgeable bike may well be 60, 70,000.
Okay.
But there again, you've probably spent 60,000 to get it.
To get there. Gotcha. Okay.
A bottom of the range one, you might be lucky to pick up a very rough running one for 25,000. But the 31s are more popular at the moment because Jay Leno has one.
Now, that'll make it more popular.
They're
for
the
sure.
last of the line. They've got an upgraded generator.
Oh yeah, that does look. Yeah.
They've got a slightly upgraded fuel pump, which adds. These bikes are total loss, so the oil isn't recirculated. This is just a drip feed into the bottom of the motor, so there's no return. It burns off the oil, and at higher speeds, with the traditional pump, which is used for the first 3 years, which is this pump. At higher speeds, you need to add oil by pumping with your hand here.
Oh.
So you have to reach down, pull this up, reach down under the tank, open that valve, plunge it down, and put it up. Otherwise, you're in danger of seizing the motor. So
31's just.
So 31s, they have this bit here on the front, which is actually attached to your carburettor, and actually adds more oil the more you open the throttle.
Significant advancement.
It was a step towards the recirculating oil. It doesn't really improve the matter, but it was. You still need to be very careful about your oil, because obviously it's not being recirculated. If you run out of oil or you get an airlock, your motor blows. So, but when you get used to the oiling system and you get the right level of oil and the way you ride, it works really well.
Awesome.
So these were really the first of the sports touring market. Excuse me. They were the first really usable long distance tourer that is also nimble, handles great. They were still extremely popular in the 50s. It's very difficult to find a straight original one, because in the 50s guys stripped them down because they were great for TT racing. So you find a lot of them had later Sport Scout cylinders, high performance mods, and they were stripped right down and raced because they were the perfect bike for that type of thing, and they were lighter than some of the later stuff.
Cool. So 1928 to 1931, Indian 101.
Indio 101 Scout. Yeah.
Awesome, Tim. Hey, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we have some newer bikes here.
This is actually a 1957. It's the first year Harley ever made a Sportster model. Yeah,
Oh,
1957, yeah.
Okay.
That's something you don't see every day of the week, kind of collectible.
We're winding down our day here at the AMC Swap Meet in Oley, Pennsylvania. I want to go ahead, I want to thank Danny for walking with us through the entire event and just kind of going over some of the prices that they have for sale. If you guys found value in this video, please give us a like or a subscribe, and thank Danny for his time. Again, my name is Parker with Backyard Barn Finds, and have a great day.